Greetings. My name is Charles McCall, and many of you viewing this video will know me and recognize me, but some of you may not. So I've been involved in leadership and management for over 40 years in various capacities in the United States and in Cambodia, where I've lived about half of that time, and working with organizations, working with churches, working with some businesses, some schools, many different entities in the area of leading, growing, moving forward, developing capacity, and in particular, strategic planning. One of the things that I've personally done over the many years that I've led organizations, schools, entities such as that, is annual planning. It's something that I began many years ago, and every September, October, and November, that is planning season. And you're beginning to forecast and plan for the following year. And so we've done this for many, many years. And the first aspect of it is planning. And so many entities simply do not plan what they want to see, what they want to do for the next year, annual planning. Many of them do, but they wait until they're into the year already. And so they're starting out behind. We say behind the 8 ball, behind schedule. And so really October is the time to start putting it together. And I have, by the way, I have forms and I have documents that I've had my staff and department heads fill out, answer. We come together and discuss, and I can make those available to you. And one of the reasons I'm sharing this, it's going to be kind of a summary. I'm not going to go in detail because I can help you. I'm a consultant, and even though we may be far away, I can help you online. I can help you through phone calls. I can help you through emails, all different social media. I can help train you, and I can help train your staff, and I can help guide you through these kind of processes. It's very good to have a personal trainer or coach to be able to ask you questions. And that's really the thing that I would do, is just simply to ask you questions, give you some guidance, and point you in the right direction, and you come to your conclusions on what's best for your entity. But anyway, the annual planning process, how to do annual planning for your business, organization, church, school, or your personal life. And so to start with, in this short lesson number 1, I just want to look at some quotes. And many of these are famous quotes. You probably know most of them already, but they're true and they're certainly worth paying attention to. The first is the well-known quote by Alan Lakin: "Failing to plan is planning to fail." And so if an entity does not plan, and I've seen businesses and schools and different entities open and close, open and close, open and close, because they have failed to plan, because they haven't thought through on who they are, where they're going, and how they're going to do it. And so if we fail to plan, if we do not plan, then we will probably fail. Or else we will limp along, we will move along haphazardly, and we won't grow. Our entity will not grow the way that we probably want it to grow. The second quote is, "An hour of planning can save you 10 hours of doing." And someone in the carpentry business, they said, "Measure twice and cut once." How many times have you moved forward with something, and because you haven't thought it through, you've wasted time, you've wasted resources, you've wasted effort, and you have to go back and start over again? The reason why is lack of planning. And so nobody has time to plan. I've got a project I'm going to be sharing with you as an example, and I'm busy and you're busy. We don't have time to plan, but we must make time to plan. If you're listening to this, and if you're a boss, if you're a department head, if you're a senior leader, then you cannot afford not to plan. One of your main roles at the higher level leadership is planning and then ensuring that that plan moves forward and evaluating the plan, as we're going to see. Another quote by Stephen Covey is, "Make time for planning. Wars are won in the general's tent." Okay, and so the guys who are out fighting on the battlefield, they're not doing what they think is the right thing to do. They're doing what the general is telling them to do. How does the general come up with that? The general spends time planning. He meets with his advisors. He meets with people who can give him the information necessary, and he spends time planning, discussing it, thinking it through. Wars are won in the tents of generals, and then they're executed out on the field. But it begins with planning. It begins with strategy. It begins with vision. Planning without action is futile. Action without planning is futile. What do we mean, planning without action? I've experienced it. I've worked for bosses, and they had a great vision. They had a great plan, but there was no action to it. It was posted, it was advertised, it was shared with the staff, but there was no action to it. It was not executed. It was not put into practice. And so planning without action is futile, but then action without planning is fatal. Fatal means it will kill you. And so again, it's the idea of moving from day to day, going somewhere, but you're not exactly sure where you're going. You're moving forward, but you don't know if you're going in the right direction or not. Planning and having annual goals, having a vision, annual goals, and strategy, they are simply crucial. I cannot imagine running an organization or a business or a school or a church without having annual plans, with knowing what the long-term vision is and what are the annual goals and how are we going to do that. Someone else said, a goal without a plan is just a wish. I've talked to so many leaders of organizations and entities, churches, schools. Although they have a great idea, but they're not doing. There's no plan to put it into practice. And so really, it's not a plan, it's just a wish. Someone else said, and I like this one, a good plan is like a roadmap. That is exactly what a good plan is. A good plan is a roadmap, and it shows you the final destination and probably the best way to get there. Have you ever used a roadmap before? You use Google Maps nowadays, but in the old days we would use maps that would fold out, and you would plan your way. Hopefully, you know what your destination is, and the roadmap shows you what is probably the best way to get there. Probably, because as you go, you may meet obstacles on the road, or the road may be closed, or it may be washed out, or there may be a new road that is not on the map yet. But the plan, the strategy, shows you what is probably the best way. And as I'm going to explain in a few minutes, and in our next video, you will make adjustments as you go along. And finally, goals should be growth-oriented. It's very important for you to understand the difference between a leader, a manager, and a worker. A leader and a manager and a worker, they're different. And so a leader is growth-oriented. A manager is maintaining what we have. A manager is not planning for growth, but a leader plans for growth. And so as a leader, when I commission my staff to make the annual plans for their department, I want their plans to be growth oriented. I want them to increase. Okay? Increase in quantity, in number, increase in quality, okay? Increase in skills. And so goals should be growth oriented, and that has to do with the guidelines that you as the senior leader give your managers or your assistants, and then they give those that are working with them. And so the annual planning process is, how do we do annual planning? So as I said, September, October, November of every year, is that our staff meets together in their working groups, and they think through the next year, what do they want to see in their department by December 31st the following year. How much financial increase, or how many student increase if it's a school, or if it's a church, how many member increase, or how do they want to develop the skills of their volunteers and the staff that are working with me. There's all these different categories that we think through, and we think, what do we want it to look like by December 31st? Don't think about how to do it yet. The first step is vision. The second step is goals. So don't think about how to do it yet. Just say, this is what I would like to see. Then you bring that back as a leadership team, and you discuss it. You hash out the realities of it. Is it realistic? And by the way, we create SMART goals. When we're making a goal, we make a SMART goal. They're specific. Not, I want to see our school grow by December 31st. We use SMART goals. SMART goal is specific. It is measurable. How many? It is attainable. It's not unrealistic. That is really impossible to do. It's relevant. It relates to actually who we are and what we're doing, our vision. And it's time-oriented. And so we say, I want to increase my class. If we're talking about a school, I want to increase my class I want to increase each class, if we're a director, by 10 students by the 31st of December next year. Okay, so that's a SMART goal. I want to increase my class. We've got the time-oriented. We have this measurable. There's 10 students. I want to increase my budget. Or I want to, if we're a church, what we used to do, we want to plant 5 more churches in this area by December 31st next year. And so that's a SMART goal. Business, personal life, can apply to all of them. What you're seeing on your screen now, and I'm just going to summarize this, and then we'll go into the next video, and I'll explain it a little bit more further, and then I will share with you a project that I'm literally working on at the moment that I'm recording this. And so what I would do is I would go through this process. 9 steps to project completion. These are 9 essential steps to successfully completing a project. All right, you have to do all 9 of these, and you really should do them mostly in this order. There's a little bit of changes that you can make, but this is it. Number 1, vision. Everything starts with vision. What do you see for your entity? I say school, church, business, organization. I just take the broad word entity. What do you see for your entity 10, 20, 30 years from now? If you're a business, do you see branches of your business all over the place? Do you see a lot of staff? Or do you see what we call a mom and pop store, only one? You're satisfied with that? For your church, for your business, for your personal life? So we have to take time to think, what do I see further down the road? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road. If you cannot answer that question, then you're very dangerous where you're going with whatever you're doing, because vision is the destination on the map. And so you need to have a clear vision. And a vision statement, mission statement, I've got a lesson on my YouTube about the difference between mission statement and vision statement. Don't worry about it. At this point, vision statement, what do you see? And if you can't articulate it, if you can't explain it to someone else, and if your staff and volunteers do not know what your vision is, that's a big red light for you. You need to go back to the drawing board. Vision is the foundation, because as you're going to see, everything we do, every decision that we make, every dollar that we spend, every staff that we hire, it will lead us to fulfill our vision. If it doesn't, then it might be leading us away from our vision, and we're going to be wasting time, be wasting finances, be wasting energy. So the first step is vision. The second step is goals. An annual goal is a SMART goal, something that we want to see happen during a specific period of time. And we're talking about annual goals, and so we're saying if this is September, October, or November of one year, then we're saying by the December 31st of the following year, this is the goal. And you have overall goals, we can say corporate goals, but every department should have a goal too. So when I was a pastor, that I had the worship team would set annual goals, the children's ministry, the youth ministry, the finance admin department would set annual goals. The cell groups would set annual goals. We'd have annual goals for the preaching ministry, and we had English classes, we had computer classes, we had different community outreaches. Every one of those departments would have their annual goals. They would get together with their key staff or their key volunteers, and they would discuss what do they want to see for their department by the end of the next year. So goals are SMART goals. Strategy is the next step. Strategy is how are we going to do it? Strategy says, here's the goal, but now how are we going to do it? Vision does not change. Goals should not be changed much because they should be well thought through, but strategy can change. We may get halfway through the year and find out something has happened. There's been a worldwide pandemic that changes everything. So therefore, our goal might change a little bit, but maybe we have to change our strategy on how we're going to achieve our goal. And then staffing. You ask the question, what kind of a person do I need to do this? And so you start with the characteristics. I need a person, I need a finance person. I need somebody who can teach 5-year-olds. I need somebody who is good at advertising, a computer. And so you think of the, not the person's name. Many times we think of a person's name, oh, he would make a good staff. Don't think of the person's name yet. Think of the role that you need filled. What kind of a person do you need to move forward to the next level? And then you look for that person. And the fifth step after that is budget. After you have the vision should already be there. After you have the annual goals and the strategy and the staffing, then you ask, how much is this going to cost me? And often for us, it was too much. Our goals were too big and they cost us too much money. And so either you have to cut back on your goals, the cost of your goals or the cost of your staffing, or you have to increase your income. It's one of the two. And then after that, you do the training. Every new staff should go through training. Every new staff should be familiar with the vision. Every new staff and every new volunteer should know the vision, the goals, and the strategy. All of them should know that, and they should know it clearly so we're all on the same page. Training, and then you do the overseeing as you move forward into the new year, and the activities are being activated. You're doing what you said that you would do. You're moving forward. Then it needs to be overseen. Somebody needs to be assigned to check up to see if they're doing it the way we said that we would do it. To make sure that your staff is doing it, your volunteers are doing it. That doesn't mean standing over them and watching them every minute of the day. It means from time to time someone pops in. They join the cell group, or they go out on the mission, or they sit in the classroom and they just observe and they ask a few questions. And by the way, you as the senior leader, you may be way up here. You need to come down to ground level. And from time to time, you need to go check on it yourself. You need to pop into the classroom. You need to go on the mission. It should not be a major part of what you do, but you need to see it with your own eyes. Hopefully, the person that you've commissioned to do it on your behalf has the same thinking. They're thinking the same way as you, and they're looking for the same way as you. You don't want someone to go check up on it and say, oh yeah, report back to you, yeah, it's okay. By the way, the overseeing part they do report back to you, whoever is overseeing it. And so this brings us into staff meetings, which is another big subject. You know, staff meetings, you have the key people, the heads of all departments, and you have them do a monthly report. So tell me, give me the report according to what our goals are. Overseeing, and then you evaluate. So how are we doing? Should we keep doing it this way, or should we adjust? Is it working or is it not working? Not everything is going to work. Not all of our goals are going to be perfect, and not all of our strategies are going to be perfect. And so therefore we oversee it and we check up on it to evaluate it. Is there any adjustments that need to be made? And then that's the number 9. That's the 9th step, is we make the adjustments that are necessary. All right, and so annual goals. Setting a goal for every department in your entity is essential. And so you need to have a process in place where in September, we start the meetings, start the departmental meetings, October. And November, we begin to finalize the strategies, we finalize the budget, and in December, it's all ready. It's before Christmas, it's all ready, it's all finished, so when you hit January 1st, boom, you can go, you're ready. All right, and so we're going to take a rest, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to share you a project that I'm working on personally right now, and I'm going to apply it to this situation as an example.